ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. The Bible contains a very enigmatic chapter that has to do with a jealous husband. He thinks that his wife is being unfaithful. He has warned her apparently, but she has closeted herself in a place with another man. And he thinks that she's not being faithful to him. So there's a whole process that she has to go through. She has to have a certain potion, drink a certain potion where the name of God had been inscribed first in a piece of paper. She goes through a very difficult ritual. That was only done during the existence of the Beit HaMikdash. But you see there a very difficult chapter in the Bible where the woman can come out innocent, or maybe she can come out guilty of the entire process. But there's also another chapter next to it, which is the one that speaks about a Nazir, a Nazarene in English. What is a Nazir? A Nazir is a person who vows that he's not going to drink wine. He's going to abstain from becoming drunk. He can't even eat grapes. Not only that, he's not going to cut his hair. He's not going to have any contact with the dead either. Why does he do that? Maybe he wants to come closer to God. He wants to get away from mundane things. He's not going to let himself lose what reality is. He only wants to be drunk with the belief in God, not with alcoholic beverages. At the end of that period, when is the end of that period? It's really 30 days, unless he specifies a different amount of time. At the end of that time, he has to offer a sacrifice to expiate his sins. What sin did he commit? Well, that's a very difficult thing. Some people say the fact that he became a Nazarene to begin with. You know, God placed us in this world. There are grapes. Then you should eat grapes. You can make wine out of grapes. Why not drink wine? We use wine for rituals and on many an occasion. What is no good is, of course, the excesses when you become drunk. When you overdo what you're supposed to do. You can cut your hair. As a matter of fact, some people have to do it on certain occasions. But to withdraw from society in such a way, that means you have to expiate afterwards because of what you did. Who is the most famous in the Jewish Bible? The most famous Nazarene, I think, is Samson, Shimshon HaGibor. He fought against the Philistines himself. He was extremely strong because actually his mother had devoted him to the service of God before he was born even. So he saved the Jewish people from the Philistines. And then he fell into the hands of Delilah. She cut his hair and he lost his powers. But our rabbis say the moment she cut his hair, immediately hair started growing again, and he was able then to destroy an entire temple, die together with the Philistines. So the most important Nazarene is really Shimshon HaGibor, Samson. But according to our rabbis, maybe Shmuel HaNavi was one of the greatest prophets, was also a Nazarene, because his mother also couldn't have any children. She went to the temple of Eli, the prophet Eli, and she begged for a son. She taught us even how we're supposed to pray. It is not a question of the volume of your voice. It's a question of your heart, your intent. And this Shmuel, who really is the organizer of 12 tribes into a nation, he is the one that crowned the first king of Israel. He was also a Nazarene. So our rabbis say the following. Why is one chapter next to the other? So they say the following. If you witness such an episode of that unfaithful wife, if you witness where there is suspicion about the behavior of another person with terrible consequences, I think you should become a Nazarene. Then make sure that you abstain from certain things. Why is that so? Well, I think that the episode of the woman that is unfaithful suddenly opens up new vistas in a society that doesn't contemplate that women can be unfaithful. Suddenly you place one in the public square and everybody knows that she possibly could have been unfaithful, it immediately opens up a different type of behavior for you. You thought that you have to be faithful all the time. Here's an example of a person that is not faithful. Maybe this is the problem with the movies, with novels, with killings that you see on celluloid, that you see in the movies, that you see on television. It opens up new vistas. You didn't think it was possible to use a gun to kill other people in cold blood. How are you going to do that? When there is such an event in society where a young man suddenly terminates the life of 6 people without any reason. Maybe for some people, you suddenly realize, you know, one can do such a thing. Maybe even if you don't get away with it. But it's possible to kill another human being. Maybe before then you thought that this is impossible to do. So therefore, in society, we have to be very careful with what we do, because many of these episodes are not only crimes in themselves, they also open up new vistas, new appetites for people who otherwise thought that these things are impossible. Make sure that in your home, the right programs are the ones that you view on television, on your iPad, on the different instruments that we have today in order to connect with the world, because sometimes many of these deviations, what they do is create new appetites that you didn't think of before as possible.